It is a true blessing to be able to speak with you today among friends in this very community where in 1987 our Social Action Committee decided to act on the mission to house and support people with mental illness or other disabilities who would otherwise be homeless. For 36 years, Anne Frank House, now called Anne's Place, has continued this mission. I'd like to start with appreciation. On behalf of everyone at Anne's Place, I want to thank you for your support of many years. We couldn't have done this work without you. I also want to take a moment to honor two extraordinary individuals, Adina Mendelson and Marian Fox, who recently stepped down from the board of directors after many years of dedicated service. Adina and Marian have served not only as volunteers and committee members, but also as presidents of our board. They have led with wisdom, compassion, and unwavering commitment, helping to strengthen our organization through times of both challenge and growth. We are forever grateful. Thank you, Adina. Thank you, Marian. I also would like to thank the other volunteers, all the members of the board, many of whom are in the room with us today. And if you wouldn't mind, just raise your hand really high, because I'd like for the congregation to see dedication. Thank you. Couldn't do it without you. I also want to share with you some of what we've learned along the way. If we are to truly address homelessness, we must first address the myths that cloud our understanding of it. Let's begin with the basics. When we talk about people experiencing homelessness, what does it mean? The Department of Housing and Urban Development defines homelessness as lacking a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. That means not having access to places designed for sleeping, like a home. That means living in a car, in a park, in an abandoned building, or a transit station. These are not homes. These are signs of society in urgent need of repair. Once every year, nonprofit coalition volunteers count unhoused people in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere. And what we've seen is troubling. Between 2023 and 2024, the number of individuals experiencing homelessness has increased here by 10%. I believe that if we are to end homelessness, we must deepen our understanding of it. I like to examine the myths so they don't serve as impediments to our engagement. So here's one myth. Most homeless people sleep on the streets. The fact is that in 2024, the percentage of people experiencing unsheltered homelessness was nearly 4% lower than it was in 2023, even though the number of people counted as homeless grew by 10%. That means more people are experiencing homelessness, but are couch surfing or in temporary shelters, out of sight, but very much in crisis. Another myth is that homelessness is always chronic. The fact is that most people who experience homelessness find permanent housing quickly, often on their own, and do not return to homelessness. So what we see on the streets is not the same people, but more people. Homelessness touches more people than we realize. And finally, the myth that's most damaging to engaging with empathy: people experiencing homelessness just need to get a job. The fact is that right here in DC, we are ranked by the National Low-Income Housing Coalition as 6th in the nation of cities where wages are too low to afford housing. People are working, sometimes 2 jobs, and still cannot make rent. The New York Times recently published an opinion piece on this on March 1st. It mentioned a recent study analyzing census data that found that nearly half of people experiencing homelessness while staying in shelters had formal employment. and about 40% of those living outdoors had formal employment. This brings us to what really happens. A person with no safety net has only to encounter the loss of a loved one, the foreclosure of a home, a serious illness, or other emergency to slip out of housing. Luckily, the people who support Anne's Place have placed a high value on providing a safety net, and it changes lives. We are guided by Jewish teachings that religious ritual is inseparable from social justice. For example, in the Yom Kippur Haftorah, where it says, "Is this not the fast I choose, to share your bread with the hungry and to bring the homeless poor into your house?" Isaiah challenges us to see that welcoming the unhoused is not optional and that it is sacred. This year I was reminded of my favorite Jewish teaching on helping people by the 10th grade class at Addis Israel's religious school. So Kareth, you're still in here somewhere, I hope. Yes, thank you. You taught me something too. And that is that Rambam's 8 levels of tzedakah. In Mishnah Torah, the laws of gifts to the poor, where it says, the highest level of charity is helping someone before they become poor by offering employment, partnership, or resources to become self-sufficient. Permanent supportive housing reflects this highest level. It helps individuals rebuild their lives and maintain long-term independence. Thanks to the generosity of many people in this room and in community with others, I am overjoyed to share our latest good news. We recently welcomed a new resident into our permanent supportive housing program. Because of you, this individual now has not only a roof over his head, but the dignity, stability, and hope that comes with that. From the very beginning, Anne's Place was built on a simple but profound belief that every person matters and that no one should fall through the cracks, and that we are all responsible for one another. I'd like to say a special thank you also to the organization that has supported Tier in partnership with us, and that is the Community of Hope. And if you guys could just raise your hands, the 3 people who are here today, thank you. It's a wonderful organization, and this has been our introduction to you, and I'm glad you're here today. There is no other greater mitzvah than to help another human being rebuild their life. And there is no greater joy than to walk beside them as they courageously step forward. And so it is my great honor now to introduce you to our newest resident, Tier Johnson, who has so graciously agreed to share his story with us today. Shabbat Shalom.